Hi, welcome to Healthy Kingston. I'm your host, Janet Wade. I'm also a member of the Board of Health in Kingston. And today we're going to be focusing our program exclusively on COVID-19 and the pandemic, the impact that it's had on the town of Kingston, what the health agent and the Board of Health are doing to address the impact of COVID-19 on the town residents, and then some information on accessing the vaccine itself and what you can expect from receiving it, and then how to conduct yourself in the world after you've received the vaccine. So hopefully some good pertinent information that you can actively apply in your life. So with that, I'd like to start us out with typically a few statistics, and keep in mind that a lot of this information and certainly statistics are the term is fluid. They're constantly changing. So we are taping this program on March 4th. It probably won't go out until close to the 11th. So by the time that you're actually watching this, the numbers will have changed. So I would just say, look at trends. So in Massachusetts, this is as of the 4th, today, there have been 1,533 new cases and 66 deaths. And there have been, since February 14th, as far as statewide cases, there have been 10,389. If we're looking at Kingston in particular, since the middle of February, there have been 68 cases and a total for this past year of 852. I think the important thing to think about as far as trends go is that things have plateaued and they're now going down. That's statewide, and it's also impacting the town of Kingston and Plymouth County. We are in the yellow zone, and we have been since the 14th of February. And the trend is that the cases are continuing to go down. So I see us as remaining there and hopefully eventually going to the lowest zone, probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So with that said, what I'd like to do is introduce Joe Casna, who is the chairman of the Board of Health here in Kingston. And he has a lot of information as far as what the Board of Health and the health agent have been doing regarding the virus, as far as looking at the cases and the impact on the town, and looking at locations for a vaccination clinic. So I will, and the emergency management team that he's been a part of, our health agent's been a part of. So he has a lot of information to relay to all of us as to what's been going on behind the scenes. So Joe, welcome.
Hi, Janet, how are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Okay. Well, okay, from a Board of Health perspective, first and foremost, I would reiterate masking and social distancing are still very important. As far as the clinic goes, Marcia, our health agent, Marcia Lee, has been working on this since the very beginning, trying to put together a clinic. She, like many other health agents in other communities, at first worked with our local emergency management director, Fire Chief Mark Douglas, and they made several different efforts to put together a town-sponsored clinic. And many of those efforts went to nothing, and we couldn't put that together. What's happened recently now is Marcia has pursued a more regional way of looking at this and partnered up with the town of Plymouth, and more recently the town of Carver has actually joined in. There was a meeting the other day of several different communities. I believe that Halifax was involved, Pembroke was involved, And they all got together and discussed the potential of putting together a regional clinic, which we're hoping that that may bear some fruit, whereas these individual town efforts have not worked out. They don't seem to be going to get any vaccines as an individual community. So
Right, and all of this is being driven by the governor, who really
yes, oh yeah,
wants to
oh
distribute
sure,
the vaccine to centers rather than to individual towns.
yeah. They feel that they want to put it out in big quantities and have lots of participants rather than have like an individual community, which is kind of that's not our decision. But on the same token, it's too bad because so many communities invested so much time and resources setting up and planning for the potential of having a clinic, and then only to be told that we're not going to do it that way. And luckily for us, our health agent had already started to make overtures on a regional level, bringing other communities into it with her. So we still have a potential for having a clinic. They're discussing as a location, they're discussing having it up at the Kingston Mall where there's plenty of parking and setting it up that way. They're all working together towards that end.
Who is on the emergency response team that's been in place all this time for the last year? And what have they been providing?
The emergency management team is primarily led by our fire chief, Mark Douglas, but of course, Marcia is on it. The new town administrator, Keith Hickey, has been an active participant, as has been Paula over at the senior center. Her last name escapes me, but we put together a group that actually meets now every Wednesday morning, because this information, as you mentioned a few moments ago, has been so fluid that it changes all the time. And as a result, what we did was we got all the players together in a room on Wednesday mornings. The town administrator's there, the health agent's there, the emergency management director is there, and Paula Rossi from the senior center is there. And they go over with everything that's going on and planning and what's going to take to get the lists together. And that seems to be working rather well. It's slowed down some of the misinformation that was being tossed around. Also, I think there's a bit more attention being paid to the website and the posting of information on the website by Marcia has had more time to devote to that lately, and she's trying to keep that more up to date. Most recently, she's told me that right now there's an initiative to get together all the information on people who are shut in. And there's a program coming out. In fact, it's a small victory, but we're going to be part of it for people who are homebound. They'll be able to get their vaccine. There's a program, there's something on the website that you can log in and schedule an appointment, and they're gonna actually go, the state's gonna send people to the homes to give this vaccine, not only to that particular person who's homebound, but to those who live with that person. So there's something in the works there. That's been the most recent thing that I've been told. In addition, I've also been informed that optimistically the teachers are going to be made eligible for the vaccines in a couple of short weeks. So there seems to be some good things happening, but now is not the time for anyone to start to relax and think that we're at the end of this. We're really not. We're just accelerating the beginning of the end. And if everybody remains vigilant and keeps these masks on and watches the social distancing and stays on course, we can start to get over on this. And that's the most important initiative. This has taken up so much time out of people's lives. It's just been, I've got a 91-year-old mother at home. And I mean, she's basically she can't see the grandkids, and everybody's got to do their part. And if everybody continues to do their part, I honestly believe we're on a good road to success.
Right. Joe, what other issues has the Board of Health been dealing with lately that you may want to speak to while we have you?
Well, people need to keep in mind that I realize the importance and the level of concern over this virus, and I understand all that. But if you turn back the hands of time, 1 year, a year and a half ago, there was still a full-time job there to be done, services to be provided by our health department. And COVID, although it came to the forefront of all of that, we still have other responsibilities and other things that we have to get done. Our new health agent has completely absorbed the duties of our former food inspector. We used to have an outside inspector who did all the restaurant inspections and worked with those food vendors to keep everything the way it needed to be. New health agent is doing that in addition to everything else she's been doing. We have that going on. We still have situations with septic systems that require variances and things of that nature that we have to look at. Pretty soon the mosquitoes are going to start rearing their ugly heads. We'll have ticks next month. I mean, all of these things that we've been talking about are still going to be going on. And I think that our health agent, I give her a lot of pats on the back. I feel bad for some of the hits that she's had to take over some of the information that they tell her something on Monday, and by Friday it's either outdated or it's changed. And as a result, it makes her look like she's made a mistake when in fact all she did was pass information along that she got from people that in authority on the subject. And she's worked very hard, very diligently. She's set things up. She's put us in a good position. We're one of the few communities that I know of that's still in the running to actually have a clinic. And it's because of the efforts of Marcia and those around her. I don't discount the efforts of the team that she has around her, Mark Douglas and Paul Rossi and Hickey and many, many others. You could go on and on and on. Even board members. Look, we've had board members going in, manning the office, answering phone calls, helping out on inspections. This has been a very, very busy time, and many people have risen to the occasion. That's my message to the community. There's a debt owed to everybody involved. Everybody has really stepped up and done a great job this year. It's been one heck of a year. It's really has.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more. Anyway, thank you so much for being here and setting everybody straight and letting all the residents know what's been going on the last few weeks with regard to actions by the health agent and the Board of Health. And fortunately, as probably a number of us have heard, President Biden has said that by the end of May, we should have all been in a position to be able to receive the vaccine if in fact we want to receive the vaccine. And I have to say, from a personal perspective and as a health professional, I strongly encourage people to get the vaccine. So basically, what do you do when you're preparing to get the vaccine? Obviously, looking for a location has been a real challenge for most people. And to this date, as I mentioned, it's March 4th when we're taping. From my experience in my channels, you can look at the map on our website, that on the Board of Health website, that's on the town website, that goes into where all of the state, is a map that will show you where all of the state vaccination centers are. The closest, we have one in Marshfield, there's one in Dartmouth. CVS pharmacies, not all of them, but a number of them in the area are offering the vaccine, and they will tell you which one that they are offering. So in the event you've received, for example, one Pfizer, and you're looking for the second one to be a Pfizer, you can find out from CVS what they're offering. Walgreens is also offering as well. And so those are a few options for you. I know there's been a skin center in Indian Pond Estates that has very graciously come to the forefront and been offering vaccines. That I know Paula at the Senior Citizen Center has been making arrangements to get seniors on a list to get vaccines as they become available. So there are a number of locations. It takes a lot of patience. But as we all know, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is now being distributed as of this week. And it's a tremendous effort that Merck and Johnson & Johnson will be making to create even more. So with the 3 vaccines, the Pfizer, the Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, again, we're looking at by the end of May, anyone who wants a vaccination will be in a position to get it. So, you know, keep that in mind. I know there's a tremendous sense of urgency on the part of most people, but if you have a little bit of patience, it will be there within the next couple of months. If you're wondering about questions about taking the vaccine, you're concerned about, again, we have the Centers for Disease Control information on our website, or you can go directly on your own website, Google it and get the Centers for Disease Control, which is full of a lot of information all about the vaccine, how it works, the different medications, different vaccines, how they work, and side effects and all the rest of it. Also, the Massachusetts Department of Public Health has a similar website. As far as getting vaccinated itself, once you have the appointment, things I would keep in mind is try to find other people who've gone to that facility and find out how they are organizing their effort so that you have all this information up front before you go, because you're going to be facing a number of people who are trying to get through the system fairly quickly. So if you know how they operate ahead of time, you'll be all that much more ahead of the game and be able to get through the system a lot more quickly, as well as get other people through the system quickly. So try to check it out beforehand, how they run things. Also bring with you an insurance card you may have, a Medicare card you may have, a Medicaid card you might have, and certainly a personal ID with a photo, such as a driver's license or a passport. Just to let you know, you should not be paying for this vaccine. It is free, okay? It is being paid for by the government, so you should not be paying for it. So be prepared when you go. Should you wear masks when you go? Absolutely. If you're going by car and you're going to be getting your vaccine through a window, obviously there's not the fear of exposure to COVID that there would be if you're going into a facility. If you're going into a facility, more than likely there are going to be a lot of people there, particularly the large vaccination sites. It would behoove you to not only wear one mask, but actually wear 2. You could wear a cloth one and then over it wear a regular surgical mask or another mask. So there's even less likelihood of your being exposed, because, and particularly if everyone's getting their first vaccine, there's a higher risk for exposure there. Just to let you know a little bit about the vaccines, the Pfizer vaccine, there are 2, and you take one once and then one 3 weeks after the first dose. And you have up to 6 weeks to get the second dose. With the Merck vaccine, it is 2 doses as well. You wait a month after the first dose to get the second dose. And again, you can go several weeks out if you're having an issue getting the second dose. You have approximately up to 6 weeks to get the second one. But you want to get them fairly quickly, because the first one basically looks at your immune system and gets your antibodies going, like the vaccine. The second one is a booster. which works even heavier upon your immune system that's already been activated. So if you have the first one, you definitely need to get the second one if you want anywhere from the 94 to 95% security in not getting the virus if you get those vaccines. So it's important that you get both the doses. It's also important that if you start with Pfizer, your second one is Pfizer. If you start with Merck, the second one is Merck. Don't mix them. Obviously, there's not the issue with Johnson & Johnson. It's one dose. That's it. After you've received your first dose, you may expect a lot of people have soreness in their arm at the site where they received the vaccination. It usually might start anywhere from 8 to 10 hours after you've received the vaccine. Move your arm around a lot. For the first 24 hours, move your arm around a lot. Drink a lot of fluids, not alcoholic fluids, primarily water. Okay, will help you feel a lot better, will help alleviate some of that. Some people also have additional symptoms that can vary from chills, fever, general body ache, maybe some nausea and vomiting. Those aren't unusual, but they're typically on the mild side with the first dose. The second dose, interestingly enough, I think because people's immune systems are really being revved up, the likelihood of you having side effects is higher. So the discomfort in your arm, and again, chills, fever, body aches, nausea, vomiting, headache would not be unusual. What's interesting is, because I've been giving the vaccine, I have found, this is just my own mini research project, but older people have not been getting nearly the side effects that the younger people are. The people in their 20s and 30s and 40s seem to be getting a lot more of the side effects with the second vaccine than are the people that are in their 70s and 80s. So that's just some information that I would like to pass on to you. You're going to be asked after you have your vaccine to wait for 15 minutes. The reason for that is people will be watching you to make sure that you haven't had any reactions to the medication. Okay. People will ask me, well, what am I looking for reactions? Okay. If you're short of breath, if you're dizzy, if you're developing a rash, obviously, if you stop breathing and your heart stops beating, you go into what's called an anaphylactic reaction. We have medication there, epinephrine, that we can give you immediately and snap you back again. Okay. I have given, at this point, hundreds of vaccines, and looking at the statistics, it rarely happens. So I would not look at that as a distinct possibility. But just to be on the safe side, you are observed for 15 minutes. Those people who have had severe reactions to certain medications in the past, particularly any anaphylactic reactions, losing the ability to breathe and have a heartbeat, are typically observed for 30 minutes. So expect that, okay? And again, it's just for your safety, okay? We wouldn't want anything to happen to you on your way home from the vaccination site. As far as being around friends and family, obviously, this is after you've had the vaccine. Be wonderful to see these friends again, and grandparents see their grandchildren. But keep in mind, being careful and knowing other people are vaccinated in the family, being aware of people who haven't been, and as much as possible, using the masks, social distancing, and hand washing. The governor has opened up restaurants, different outside seating areas, and it still would be important that you keep 6 feet away from people, and the hand washing and wearing the mask in the restaurants when you're not eating. Okay. Again, this can be propelled through nasal mucus to mucus droplets, and people talking can project the virus. So you need to keep in mind that when you're going into a restaurant. As far as travel, once you receive that card that you have, that you get after you've gotten a vaccination, there's a card through the federal government where they will write down your first dose and then your second dose. And was it Pfizer? Was it Moderna? And then, or was it Johnson & Johnson? And I would advise you to keep that card with you in the event that you are traveling, you are going out of state. People may ask you for that card and you'll have it with you. So those are just a few tips to keep in mind as to how we go forward with this vaccine and the new stage that we're entering. And hoping by summer, we're not having this conversation at all. So with that said, do know that we are taking the pandemic very seriously, that there is updated information all the time on our website, on the town website. Certainly, if you have any particular concerns, call the Board of Health. If they don't answer right away, the health agent will get back to you as soon as possible. And that we also will be putting this information in the Kingston Reporter and through social media. So thank you for watching us and your support, and stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you.